Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. It's not October 1st, it's October 2nd when I am recording this, and it's just a great time of year all around. Of course, the traffic is still kicking where I live, but the leaves are turning, and we are getting ready for a really exciting time of year in the wedding industry. And things, for me at least, change a bit during this time because weddings are going to start to slow down through November, December, January, February, even March. And instead, the focus is going to be on engagement season. So, some of my clients or some people in the industry end up focusing on in house events, specifically seasonal in house events. So, I wanted to do an episode today on what are in house events, how they benefit, of course, most broadly, we would say venues, but how other vendors can get into in house events as well, how you can market them without actually having to spend a ton on ad dollars, and maybe we'll spitfire some ideas that you could do. Now, if you missed last Wednesday's episode 104 was all about local networking groups for wedding professionals. So I talk about different wedding group chapters that you could join. Many of them have local chapters, the ones that I am in, and so forth. So that's over at episode 104. Sorry, I made the mistake of not putting my phone on Do Not Disturb, and that is just never a good idea. So I had to keep hitting stop and go. But now it is on Do Not Disturb, so we will not be disturbed. We will only be disturbed by my coffee, which I just made. So I'm waiting for it to be warm enough to drink. It's a little too hot right now. But when I talk about an in-house event, what I mean is an event that is hosted by the venue itself or the vendor themselves, right? You are the host of the event. You're not being hired to put on this event. You are putting the event on. What is the benefit of doing this? Most notably is to fill dates, right? To fill a date you're not already booked, and to get people into your venue or to get people familiar with what you do. So that alone is already a major selling point for doing this, because you're taking a slot that's by the time you book an in-house event, you're not planning this 2 years in advance. You're waiting until you know, all right, the chances are we're not booking something this date. So let's use it to be an in house event. And what happens here is you charge tickets for the event and you're making some money while you're also selling your service. If you're a venue, you're getting people into your space. They're seeing what you do, the food you serve, the views you have, whatever those amenities are, they are seeing it by going to this event. So we'll just spitfire and say, let your wedding planner. I've seen wedding planners put on their own showcase types of events. Or if you're an educator on top of a wedding planner, you could put on your own seminar. Or if you're another vendor, let's say you're a DJ, photo booth company, you could ask to be a part of the event you see that a venue is holding. So look into some venues in your area and see if that's a collaboration you can do, because then you are able to piggyback on their audience too, which is another reason why these in-house events can be such great marketing. Very often you will see these events feature a local band. Consider a band that already has their own following. Now you're getting their audience to sell and to come and to show up. And that relieves some of the pressure on you, especially if you haven't done in house events before. That's a great place to start because it can help you reach those ticket goals. There are some other ways that it can really benefit your marketing. Once you hit your ticket goals, I say have a little fun with the guest list. Invite some local influencers or people from the local papers who have Instagrams, people who are going to cover and showcase your event. You can also use it as a selling point or something to give to couples who are maybe on the fence. You could say, well, here, come tour the venue, check it out. You could invite people you work with or photographers who are on your list, ask them to take a few photos in exchange for giving them tickets. See what you can do to network within your group to be able to now use this event for photos, for marketing, and so forth. On episode 100, I actually spoke about wedding content creators. And that is not someone like me who creates content for wedding vendors. A wedding content creator creates content for the couples getting married that they can share on their social media. But an in house event is a great time to collaborate with a local content creator, get to know them rather than having to, if you have, because they're new, right? So chances are you may not have worked with any yet. So you could always tell them, I'm hosting this event. I'm going to be speaking at it. Can you come? Let's work together, whether you hire them or it's part of a barter, whatever it is. And they come and they can get some behind the scenes footage of you that you then can use for your own social media. So that's another way I wanted to mention that these events can work for marketing. And I wanted to tie in how I really think that wedding content creators could be a good collaboration for that. So if you missed that episode and want to know more about what wedding content creators do, that's over at episode 100. So there are a lot of marketing possibilities just from having the event. But how are you going to market the event? So, what I find works really well for me is always having a Facebook event page for the event. And that is because it is shareable. People are on Facebook. People are used to Facebook events. Instagram and other social media platforms, those never really became a thing as much for events. I swear it, guys. Facebook still lives for events. And what happens is you post the event, it goes on your feed, okay? You can invite people to the event, or the people who follow you see the event and they can invite people. And this is how it starts to get its own life. And then beyond that, when they hit that they're interested in the event or that they're going to it, one, it appears on their feed so their friends can see it. And two, they'll get notifications that it's coming up and it remains in their upcoming events section. So there are a lot of ways that just that one addition of adding a Facebook event page can really help you. And that's something I always do first. There also are a lot of local newspapers, local radio stations that allow free listings on their website. So do a Google search of your area and then type in calendar of events and then see the necessary steps in order to put a listing. And that is something we utilize very often. Now, of course, in addition to that, you always want to be posting it on your own social media at least once a week. And you want to be sending out email blasts. Email blasts are the best for events. It really is just a tried and true method. And it's going to encourage more people to sign up for your email list when they realize that you do these local events. That's something people are really interested in. So those are three things I do before we even have to start spending money on the event, which is really great. And if you're wondering of how you will handle ticket sales for the event, of course, Eventbrite is a very popular option right now. Every vendor that I have worked with in the past. Let's say, we'll say 5 years, right? We won't go further than that because then it won't be as straightforward as an answer. But within the past 5 years, the people I collaborate who do in house events are doing ticket sales through a third party site such as Eventbrite. The way these sites work is that there is an online ticket link and they do add a fee to the cost. So there'll be your cost, the tax, and then their fee. And that is how the event is kind of paid for and so forth. So you want to make sure you have that noted in the price for your audience that it's, $100 plus tax and fees, or put it all in there so they know it. So, what are some in house events that you can do? I think a great place to start is actually Valentine's Day. If you are a venue, if you've been around for a while, hosting a Valentine's Day dinner, either on that actual day or on the weekend of Valentine's Day, not only can bring in new couples who want to maybe be at a romantic setting, but your past couples who will want to celebrate Valentine's Day where they got married. So that is one off the bat that I would say to consider. Of course, with the holidays coming up, there are occasions to do Thanksgiving, a Christmas holiday party, or even to go ahead of time and think about holidays like Mother's Day. Everybody's looking for a brunch for Mother's Day. So that is something to do. Beyond holidays, you really want to look into your local fair, your local events, your local bands, local pop ups, and see what is trending. How many times could I say local? But what I mean is, if you have a local wine country, doing a themed wine night could be great. And then you can collaborate with some of the vineyards doing a pop up for something that's popular at the time. So, my husband and I are going to be going to a Ghostbusters themed dinner at a restaurant. Actually, pretty soon. I think in a few days. I gotta check my calendar now because Halloween is coming, and he is the way I am with wrestling guys. That's him with Ghostbusters. So when I saw this event was happening, it was like, okay, I have to go. Wow, the Ghostbusters dinner is Wednesday. Who knew? Okay, so anyway, why do I feel like I have something else booked? What also was really popular, guys, when Encanto was out, doing an Encanto themed party. Oh, that was huge. And people would bring all their kids and they would just go bananas on the dance floor. And then what's great about that is that you collaborate with a group who does princesses who come to parties, where they dress up in costumes and whatnot. So you have somebody you're collaborating with for the event. And like I mentioned with other vendors, if you notice there are venues in your area doing these things, I would open a conversation about collaborating and kind of get into that space and start to network with that audience. Chances are, right, if you're at an Encanto brunch of 300 people, I like to think if you do the photo booth, at least one person's going to book it. But I don't have stats on the turnover from Encanto brunches, but let's just brainstorm about what would make financial sense to you. So those are some ideas to get you going, get you started on in-house events. Of course, because my ChatGPT for wedding marketing course is still available and out, I'm going to say, because I did this, ask ChatGPT, what are some local events that a couple in my area would be interested in going to. Of course, put in what your area is. Don't type in my area. Put in what your area is and then see what they say. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back next week for another Wedding Wednesday, and maybe soon I'll catch you up on how the Ghostbusters dinner goes. See you next time, guys.